Hello, welcome to Pantheon Talks. We are going to be talking all about this Webtoon webcomic contest that is coming up in 2025. Is it even good? Like, what's going on? Is it going to be something that is going to be taking advantage of creators? Are creators going to be working their butts off? Like, I wanna dive into what the community thinks. Like, where are our heads at? So, as usual, we're gonna be looking at Reddit, and someone actually sent this to me, so thank you so much to all of you who send me articles and things to look at. Like, sometimes I'm just not looking at that stuff. I have big plans on covering a bunch of things to help people who are going to be entering the contest, but I felt like this was a very fitting topic to go ahead and consider. The Webtoon contest for 2025 seems kind of bad. Let's see what these people had to say. Yes, Webtoons is having a contest at a gong. We covered it in my last video. Please check it out if you haven't. I go through all of the rules, we read them together, we look at the 2 notices that they had available. So, the Webtoon contest seems really cool on the surface. Lots of big cash prizes and a broad range of genres, romance, action, thriller, comedy, to enter a comic for. But it seems like there is basically no incentive to make something specifically for the contest. They are allowing entries from comics already on the site that fit the entry criteria, and the genres allowed basically cover about 99% of comics on the site. Maybe it's just me feeling this way, but why would I bother creating 3 40-panel chapters, I think they meant episodes, to complete against an already running series that doesn't need to do anything to submit? It would be nice if there was at least a theme or a prompt to the contest to at least make it so it was a little harder to enter with a comic you had already made. Let's see. Oh, hey Jay, thanks for joining. Chiku said, do you think it's kind of rigged? I mean, how can they possibly sift through so many entries? I think it's not rigged, but I do think that there are a number of factors that go into considering what they want to make an original. And I think when we see the rules come out, it's going to really help us understand like exactly what they're looking for. Like, listen, I'm gonna have to start doing some real talk with you guys, because I feel like as creators, sometimes the view is a little more on the hopeful side, but you have to remember where Webtoons is coming from. Webtoons is coming from a business standpoint. And so there are a number of things that if Webtoons feels like you don't mesh with them enough to be an original, and so I don't necessarily mean that on the premise of like you're a bad creator. I just mean like Webtoons looks for particular things, like particular art styles, particular ways of telling stories. They look at the potential of the characters. There's a lot of things that Webtoons considers. So that's why I'm like, if you want to work with Webtoons, you need to study like what they produce. Could you make something that they don't produce and they hire you and you become the most popular webcomic on the planet? Absolutely. Like, no doubt. But if I'm being 100% honest, if we're talking about you being in the best position as possible, Webtoons is a business, and Webtoons is looking for somebody to make them money. Like, that's it. That's what this contest is for. It's for Webtoons to find someone to make them money. We have already seen so many of the big creators like disappear from the platform that I feel like Webtoons, especially for the American side, is like, we need somebody to replace this. Like, Uo-chan, maybe the unordinary creator, maybe has like 2 to 3 more years. I'm the Grim Reaper. I don't know where it's at in its phase, but I would think it's coming towards an end. Like, I feel like there's a lot of series that are on the platform that have either ended or looking in their last season and about to end. So Webtoons is looking for the next big thing. Which I feel like this is why I always preach that you need to stand on your business and know like where you're at with them. If they're really, into your series, you can possibly leverage that to get a better deal. So when we look at what this person is saying, and they're talking about the fact that they feel that it's unfair, I don't think it's unfair because this is a public forum where anyone can enter. Like, they're not excluding like past originals, they're not excluding professionals. Like, basically, they're saying, like, hey, you can enter. And that's the case for any contest. Like, you don't know who your competition is. You don't know how long they've been working on their story. Like, someone could be working on a story that fits the theme perfectly and it's 100% exactly what they want. So I don't necessarily see that as something that's bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see that as okay, like they have a leg up because they've been working on their series for a while. Like, I don't want to say it's defeatist, but that's what it's giving. And if you feel that way, I'm sorry, but I feel like in any sort of contest, there's always going to be someone who's maybe worked harder than you, who's put in more effort than you, whose designs are better than you, whose plot is better than you. Like, you're not the best in the world. And that's just something you have to accept as a creator, in my opinion. Adagong said, Webtoons has shown to have a bias over the years. I don't think Webtoons is showing the bias. I think the readers are showing the bias because Webtoons doesn't care. In my opinion, if SpongeBob SquarePants, like, a new one showed up on the Webtoon platform and it was doing like amazing on there, that's what Webtoons would want. Webtoons would be like, where's our next SpongeBob SquarePants series? Like, that's what we want. Webtoons wants what's going to make them money because let's just take a second to think about this. Creators produce content for Webtoons. The content is given to the readers. The readers buy the content. The profits from the content goes to Webtoons. Webtoons then use those profits to pay creators. So it's a cycle of, you know, being able to pay more people, increase salaries, increase bonuses. Like, Webtoons does not care what the series is, in my opinion. Like, I'm talking about at the bottom line. Like, do they want good content? Are there people that work there that want like high quality Arcanes, high quality Game of Thrones type series, like whatever? Yes. But at the end of the day, probably during those corporate meetings that they have, they're like, this series isn't doing well, we're not going to invest in it. And that's what it boils down to. Hoot Hoot said, if you don't want to be an original, it's still good to join the contest to get your name out there. Also, as a good source of motivation for yourself to get some work done and not procrastinate. I agree with that 100%, and I feel like that's part of the reason why I want to enter myself. Like, I really want to hold myself accountable for like entering this contest. Like, I want to stand on business. I want to be like, this is what I am capable of producing. Like, this is the quality here. And you don't know who's looking at the Webtoon webcomic contest. Like, there's going to be 100% tons of people looking at this. Like, I've been looking up articles and stuff. There's like people from The Wire looking at this, USA Today. Like, there's all sorts of crazy, like, people who are not in, like, per se, I'm air quoting, you guys can't see me, the webcomic space that are looking into this contest. So I'm just trying to be like 100% with you guys. Like, I do not want to BS you guys during this contest because I want you to be prepared for what to expect when you're participating in this. What Webtoons is looking for. And I'm doing this from my own biased opinion. So remember that. Like, huge disclaimer, like, I don't work at Webtoons. I don't know. I'm basing all of my thoughts here on what I think like their business approach to this is going to be. So let's look at what some other people had to say. Well, in the contest link, it says there will be more rules/guidelines coming soon. So I guess we'll see if there are more restrictions. So far, original creators, those with upcoming originals and already had original offers, are not allowed to join in the contest. I think I disagree with that last part of the sentence. And already had original offers. I don't think it said that. I think that it said that like, as long as they're not contracted right now, they can enter. So like, I think like Hansa, who's not contracted right now, she's just posting on Canvas, and there's somebody else posting on Canvas. Like Snail Lords, I think is just posting on Canvas. Like, they could enter. So like, that's what I'm saying. The professionals are allowed to compete in this. So it's just something that we have to accept as creators. Like, they're a part of this. Understand and just you know, move on from that fact. Like, you're going to be going up against people who are really good. Aryu said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Yeah, absolutely. Like, why are we worried? Like, we haven't even entered the contest. Like, you can't even speak on like how well your series is yet. Like, do you even know? Like, is your script even done? Have you gotten feedback on your script? Has anyone told you like, hey, your script is good? If not, then like let's not already be thinking about the negatives. Like, it's good to consider, like, once you have the product ready and you've gotten some feedback on it, to be like, okay, like, let's develop this from here. But let's just be honest. You can go down a rabbit hole. Like, let's say a bunch of the professional community, like, people who work at Marvel, people who work at DC, Dark Horse, that sort of thing, decided to enter. That's within their prerogative, but we're not going to think about it. So let's move on to the next comment. It seems a little odd to post the contest, but not have the full rule set available or established for those intending to enter their works. I do not necessarily agree, because if we look at the fact of there's been so much hype already around this. Like, I've seen like a number of creators posting about it, like on YouTube. Like, I've seen probably at least 5 to 7 videos of people covering this content. I've seen like 10 articles maybe from different like outlet sources and whatnot covering it. So I'm just like, I don't agree. Like, I think the whole idea was to gauge interest, to see if people were interested in this beyond the Webtoon Canvas community. Like, they already know Canvas is interested. And then when we think about the fact that they are now a publicly traded company with investors, like, I'm sure their stock went up. Like, because it's just good PR. We're giving away $1 million to future creators. Like, we're going to potentially help 40 different people. So I feel like there's a lot of stuff happening here. Why not have the full contest? Its rules, regulations, guidelines, expectations, categories, and prizes, along with the deadlines full posted for potential entrants prior to its opening. So because they don't want to release it yet. Like, that's all, they want to build suspense. They want people excited about it. They want people talking about it. So when they do release this, like, this is just more clicks for Webtoons. Like, Webtoons is a digital platform. They want clicks. They want people looking at their platform. They want people interested. They want people building up hype. This is a chance, I think, like, to take it as an advance. Like, you can go ahead and be hyping up your project if you feel like you already have a project that you want to enter. This is a chance for you to be like really refining your script, because when those rules drop, I'm positive like it's going to be an all-out mad dash. It's giving off a general vibe of disorganization that would most certainly put me off of considering entering if I were a creator. It's not giving off disorganization, it's giving marketing. Like, we covered this a few seconds ago, but I just feel like this is how you hype things up. Like, you like, for movies, they release a trailer to get people interested. Like, they're just throwing this out there like, hey, you, we're gonna be doing a contest. Are you interested? Oh, you're not? It's $1 million prize pool. Like, everybody's clicking on that. Everybody wants to know what's going on. Especially if I were to enter early, then find out later that they'd potentially add in a rule that they get free use or rights over my work if they haven't even finished setting things up all the way. I'd really hold off until the full rules and I guess regulations of this were done and set in stone, and I'd have time to review them thoroughly for anything potentially questionable or just meh about the contest that didn't sit right with me. I again disagree with this entire statement, because let me break it down for you guys. If you're posting on their platform already, like, they don't have anything that I feel says that they can take your IP, like, from being a Canvas creator. So I don't think that they're going to do that on, like, they would have to pay you, I think, to take, like, they would have to change their whole, that would be wild if they did. But I feel like they're trying to save face a little bit here. They would have to change everything if they were just going to take your IP. Now, if you get into the final round, tons of things and they give you that original contract and they're like, in order for you to get this 150K, we want 20% of your IP. Now that would definitely be something to consider, like 100%. But I feel like it's not necessarily questionable. And I do think that you can go ahead and start refining your script. Like you can go ahead and be looking at things like, is my first episode boring? Is my main character relatable? Is there a hook in my first episode? Is there a hook in the beginning few panels of my episode? What are the fun factors for my audience? What are things that, is really going to up engagement? What is my marketing plans? What are my goals for this series? Like, what am I going to do? Do I already have 3 episodes planned out? If I do, are these 3 episodes good? Have I gotten feedback from people? Like, there is so much to consider, which I'm going to cover all of that in the coming months. Like, I already have like ideas of things made up for December that I want to cover. Like I want to do some roundtable stuff with some other creators too to talk about the contest, but we're getting sidetracked. I just feel like it's not necessarily, I feel like if you don't want to take the money or you don't want to take the contract, then they're not going to have access to your IP. And if they do something like really crazy like that, it's going to alienate everybody. Okay. Jay said, I'm interested to know more about what they will offer when it comes to IP for the winning comics. I really feel like they're probably going to want anywhere between 10 to 30%. And that's also why I feel like, depending, like if you can write something that you're not as attached to, it might be the route to go. But from everything that I've been researching lately, I do still think that possibly selling your IP or a small percentage of it could be worth it, like in the long run. Like we'll discuss that in a future video. Not saying they'd ever be scummy enough to do that, but winning doesn't always just come with upsides. Sometimes it comes with strings, and I'm always wary of these big publishers. Now that I will agree with, like that is 100% something that you have to be like on top of your stuff for, because these publishers are wild, and Webtoons, as I've always said, like you can go back and check the old videos, but I've always viewed them as a publishing house. Like, and a publishing house is a corporate business trying to look out for itself. It's not always a corporate business, but you get the vibes here. Okay, let's look at the next comment. This is what has me thinking this sort of last-ditch effort to buff out the scratches, cause by their recent controversies, I mean, even the theme is sort of vague and uninspired. In the past, the contests have always been centered around specific formats and genres, call to action, sci-fi, superheroes, short stories, etc. But this one is literally just, I don't know, make a comic that fits the vibe of one of these 4 nondescript categories. Okay, let's pause there for a second. So, I think sometimes people enter these contests and win, but they have no interest in that genre. And so I think Webtoons is just testing different things, trying to figure out like, does it work? Does it not work? Like, and so I feel like they're gonna do this one now, where it's like, let's just make the theme broad with multiple categories, and you guys go from there. So I feel like there's a lot of stuff going on here, where they've proven that they're willing to do things, but this one they're like, here's a free space, try it out and let's see what happens. Let's see if we can get another Rachel, because do they want another Rachel Smythe? 100%. Like they lost that chick and they want her back bad. Like they are down bad for that girl. And not necessarily her, I just mean like a series to replace her. Lore Olympus ending, I feel like it was probably like a mourning day for them. Like they probably told all the employees to wear black that day. They were like, this is Rachel's last episode, we're black, y'all, we're in mourning. Are you said, are my eyes playing tricks or did your character start animating? Yes, so I'm working with the animation software now. I'm trying to figure it out. It's been a uphill, downhill battle. I don't know if my computer is powerful enough to have all of these programs running at once. Like it works perfectly when I'm not like live. So I think like I'm gonna have to get a new computer or something. Adagong said, we really just gotta learn how to manage companies like these. I don't think there's necessarily a way to manage them. I think there's a way to be aware of what they're doing and then try your best to manipulate the situation to benefit you. Adagon communication tactics, common techniques, roles that people play, trip falls, so on. Yeah, exactly. Like that's something that I feel like you definitely should have in place. Like if you do get a contract, like I think it's 100% worth it to pay for a lawyer. And if you can't afford a lawyer, like maybe you could pay. I don't want to give legal advice because I feel like that's going to come back to bite me. But um I don't know, ask your family to look it over, like go over it paragraph by paragraph. If they're really down bad for you, take your time. And if they really like, I feel like anybody who's trying to pressure you into signing a contract, it may not be the best contract. Like, yes, there should be a time limit to get back to them in a respectable time, but they shouldn't be like, you've got 24 hours or else. And it's like, bruh, I'm gonna do what I want. And I'm gonna let all the other publishers know you were that interested in my series. Hoot Hoot said, not just Lord Olympus, but also Lumine Unordinary is approaching its final season, and a bunch of lesser known originals are also ending this year. Yeah, 100%. Rachel was their moneymaker, though, in my opinion. Where did I stop? Okay, obviously there's nothing tangible to back that theory, so I'm just talking out of my butt. But if we're talking vibes here, the vibes are not great. And like you said, it doesn't really instill a lot of confidence in potential participants because what a massive kick in the balls to have the rules suddenly change on you while you're halfway through creating your entry. Well, that's why I'm like, okay, I don't think the rules are going to be anything crazy. All of the contests that I've seen, the rules have not been that wild. So unless they're just like, it's just completely insane, then I don't see that happening. Next comment. Yeah, most people expect a major company to put up a contest or competition that's complete, not in progress. They didn't put up something that's not in progress. They put up an ad to inform people that they will be holding a contest in 2025. Like, you guys are jumping the gun. And I'm just saying that because I feel like we live in a world now where, like, if I don't give you the information immediately, you're upset with me. And I'm like, dude, I have this plan for X date. I'm letting you know to show up for X date for the announcement. Like, I'm not telling you, like, that I'm disorganized. This is just the plan. Like, I want you to be excited about entering my contest. Like, if that's the case, everybody's disorganized. Like, you can't make an announcement, disorganization. Like, that's what it's giving. It's like, class, I have an announcement, disorganization. How dare you have an announcement? Give us all the details. Dude, that's insane. Okay. So, yeah, next comment. Yeah, most people expect a major company to put, oh, I just read that. Where did I stop at? It'd be like putting out a car that's half done. Like, why do it when you could just complete the whole thing so people can fully buy in? But not everyone knows better. I don't understand this analogy. Like, I'm just gonna move on because I just don't agree. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, that's like apples and oranges. Like, if I put out a blurb about my book that I'm writing and I'm like, hey guys, my book is coming out October 17th, or my book's coming soon, like, it's just an ad. Like, I don't understand. Like, they're talking about a car, like a car that's not put together. All right, make it make sense. But I think by now, a lot of people have come to be aware of the misgivings smaller, medium, and large creators have of these publishers. Pretty much anything they do is under scrutiny because it's the same old song and dance as before, or it's worse. Even readers are really tired of it, and draw heavy attention to the nonsense of editors, publishers, etc. Pretty much anyone who is directly associated with the nonsense at this point we don't trust. We wait, we investigate, and we verify because we've all been screwed over many times. Disagree, because they make so many originals every year. Like, I get what you're saying, but I feel like if the contract is right for any creator, they're gonna take it. Like, if it was really that bad on Webtoons, they would change their practices, but they're not changing their practices. To their credit, I do agree that they're saying that the practices are getting worse. I ain't seen the contract, but I do believe that, the more power they gain, the more they feel that I'm in this position, you're in that position. Therefore, this contract more so benefits me than it benefits you, because you don't have the power to negotiate to the degree of getting a better contract with me beyond the parameters of what I've given you. That was a lot of words for me to just say that Webtoons sees you as an ant, and if you buck up too much, I'll just squash you and move on. Next ant, please. Like, that's the vibe. Like, if we're talking analogies, I think I hit that one out of the park. But listen, I'm just being honest with you. A business is always looking out for itself. These Webtoon creators are independent contractors, which means you become a business all on your own, which means that anything that you do with Webtoons, you have to agree to. It is not like you are an employee of Webtoons. Like, Webtoons is not hiring you as an employee. Like, Webtoons does not control you. So, well, in the sense of a employer-employee relationship. So that's where I'm just like people look at this wrong because they're thinking of Webtoons as their employer, or not employer, like from an employee-employer relationship, but this is from like an employer to a contractor relationship. Like, this is like if your business hired someone to come in and do your plumbing at your job. Like, they're working together. Does the person who hired them have control over them? Yes, to an extent. But could that plumber just walk out and leave? Absolutely. Okay, Hoot Hoot said they want to attract fans that are into stuff other than romance genre. They want to attract fans in whatever they can. Like, it does not matter what it is. Like, mass contracting to keep the current viewership up, which makes me wonder if they will rush the comics that will sign the contracts later. I don't think they'll rush them because, listen, let me explain. They're signing people as we speak. Like, there are people in talks, there are people in contracts, there are people from the last call to action contest whose comics have not come out yet. Oh my good grief, sorry. They have tons of contracts that are on the table that they don't need to rush anything unless the people are just down bad for one of these series in the webcomic legends. Like, if there is a series that pops off like any of the big series on Webtoon, then Webtoons is going to try and fast track it. But if not, chill vibes, my guy. Like, Webtoons revenue is growing. Like, if you guys did not look at their last I can't remember, quarterly call, investment call, whatever it is, Webtoons is fine. Like, go ahead and check their numbers. Look at their stock. That'll tell you everything you need to know. Hoot said that's why they've been promoting Webtoons of other genres like School Bus Graveyard, which is a thriller, and Marionetta, which is more of a fantasy mystery genre. Yeah, Webtoons wants to expand. Webtoons does not want any other competitor to show up in a different genre and be like, oh, Webtoons is for the girlies, and this is for, like, the boys, and this is for like the people who are into detectives. Like, Webtoons like, no, we got it all. Come here. Like, forget the rest of them platforms. No, none of y'all are gonna succeed. That's the vibe from Webtoons. They don't care. They want the money. They want the viewership. The Chainsaw Maniac said, hey, Chains, if they cut me a sweet deal, I won't mind making an original. That's what I'm saying. I'm just being honest. Like, if they cut you a good deal, like Chains, like let's ask Chains, because I feel like Chains, you are very you stand on your business. So if you win that $150,000 contract, like, you end up being number one, are you going to take the contract? Like, if they say, Chains, the only way for you to get the $150K, which, mind you, again, this is going to be, like, before taxes, so you're going to get less than that. But If they were like, hey, the only way you can get this is if you agree to a 2-year contract to be an original, are you going to take it? Which, of course you'll get paid for the other episodes, but if that's the only way for you to get the 150K. Actually, let me ask all of you that. Like, not just Chains, all of you. If they said the only way for you to get the 150K is by signing the contract and being in contract with them for 2 years, are you taking the money? Are you said, show me the money? I mean, they have to. Like, they're legally bound once you sign the contract, which I would pay attention to if they're paying you in installments or if it's a large lump sum all at once. God, I need to see if I can find like a entertainment lawyer that would be willing to come and talk about this. All right, let's look at our next comment while you guys are answering that. Considering the last winner of a huge Webtoon contest still hasn't received the prize, an animated short and the originals deal, though the creator apparently is still working on their series, it's been 2 years at this point. I'm gently suggesting extreme amounts of cautions for anyone considering entering, especially with Webtoons itself now being highly scrutinized by investors and online creators alike. This feels more like a PR stunt to try and regain their dwindling reputation as a platform that's empowering for indie creators. Okay, let me pause. I don't think they're losing their reputation. Like, I'm being 100% with you, because there's nobody else in the space with them. Like, their reputation could be complete trash, and they're still going to be the best option for a lot of creators. Like, Tapas doesn't really deal as much, I feel like, with indie creators. Like, I don't hear about it as much. They could, but I feel like Tapas is just like the beginning of the end. Come here to read beginning of the end. By the way, we have Solo Leveling. It's an anime now. Like, that's it from Tapas. And these other platforms are still up and coming. Like, there's no other like power in the space that could even be like, yeah, they suck, come over to us. It's kind of like creators are stuck with, they suck, well, there's nowhere else to go. That's the vibe right now. Like, I'm just being 100 with you guys. Like, it doesn't matter how bad their reputation is right now. Like, they really don't need to save it. They only care about their investors, in my opinion. Like, if their investors are unhappy, they've got to figure out a way to justify, like, making them happy. Do I think it's a PR stunt? I do think it has some PR like involved in it, because it's coming out at a perfect time. It's like, we went public, our investors were upset, we regained a little bit momentum with our stocks. Let's talk about this contest that's coming up in 2025. Like, it's very much giving a lot of hype for something that Webtoons is doing. And I've never seen Webtoons covered by this many independent like platforms. I'm like, what the mess? Why are all these people covering this? And then even from a creator standpoint, I'm like, there are creators I've never seen make anything about Webtoons that made a video about this contest. Are they in the comic space? Yes, never seen them make anything about this contest, because your boy keeps tabs on other people who make similar content. Like, I want to know what they're talking about. And it's just wild to me that I feel like almost every creator that I know makes either comic or Webtoon content has talked about this contest. Okay. Hoot Hoot said no, because comics are just a hobby for me. I'm never going to make it my full-time job. I feel you, Hoot Hoot. Like, hey, if you like it, I love it. The Strawberry Girl said, I would have to consult my mother about that since she's pretty business savvy. Yes, stand on business. Cheek Q said, I'm broke AF, so I would sign a contract. Hey, I'm not. Yes, I 100% feel those vibes. I'm not sure how to say your name, so I'm going to say Minsha said, yes, it would be very fun. I think it would be a really good learning experience. Don't do like a 10-year story, though. Chain said, I'll have to go through the contract with my lawyer first, and if they meet my demands, I do it. Chains, they ain't gonna meet your demands. I'm sorry. Like, I'm just gonna be honest with you. Adagon said, I need to find a lawyer first. Yes, get a lawyer. I preach that. Please get a lawyer. Like you can afford it. Be like, listen, I'm getting this money that's coming in. I will pay your fees after I get the money if the contract is good. This kind of incentivizes the lawyer a little bit to like get you a good deal, because that's more money in his pocket. The less money you make, the less money he gets. Killer Patty said, I probably have a good and long chat with my team about it first, and depending on what we think, then we'll take it. I wouldn't want to drag them into professional work like that without consulting them. That's good, because you have a team, Killer Patty, is a little different. Hoot Hoot said they just want good comics to read. Yeah, they do. Chain said, best believe if there's some shady shiz in the contract, doesn't matter how much you pay me, I ain't signing it. You shouldn't sign it, but I'm just going to be honest. I feel like any contract is going to have some shady stuff in it. Like that's just my feelings. Like I feel like every contract is going to lean, like whoever writes the contract is making it for their benefit. So, I mean, is it shady or does it just benefit me? Because like all's fair in love and war. Like business is not is not something where it's like, let's be, friends and besties and hold each other's hands and braid each other's hair. Like that's not the vibe. I'm sorry. Contracts are like, I'm trying to screw you over. You got a knife, I brought a gun. Oh, you got a bazooka to my gun? I'm gonna get a nuclear bomb. Like that's the vibe. Like contracts are literally like that. Like that would be such an epic webtoon. Like my brain is just like, that would be so cool. Like contract warfare, and like different contracts are different levels of warfare. Okay, I'm getting distracted. Arya said, I don't know what I would do if I got offered a 150K and a job. I might just take it. Depends on who gets to keep the rights. Hey, dude. I mean, I'm just thinking about down the line in the future. Like, even if you have to sell your first story, your next story, you might be able to keep all the rights. Like, you might be like, this could be the start of you 100% being locked in for the rest of your life of being a creator. Like, you could be like Snail Lords. You could be like Instant Miso, like picked up by Webtoons, doing it for the rest of your life. Adagong said, we should do a live stream on what resources we should use to find lawyers and information stuff as where to educate ourselves. That's kind of hard to do. I don't necessarily want, like if I was to do anything legal based, I would want to have like a lawyer on or somebody like that to like actually chat about it. And it varies from country to country. Now, if you're doing business in America, like I feel like that's the only thing like I could speak on or get somebody to speak on. So that's where I'm at. All right, bye, Strawberry Girly. Thanks for popping on. And yes, I will call you Day Day. Awesome. Okay, let's read a little more. I think we'll read 2 more after this. Where do we stop at? Okay. Plus, there are always strings attached. In the last contest, people were misled into believing the prize money was standalone when it was actually tied into an originals deal. The prize money was just the money they'd use to buy the rights to Green Light series under normal conditions. You couldn't just take the money, you'd have to sign a job with a contract that we all know at this point is predatory at best. Predatory is a strong word. It could be predatory, and I do think there are instances of it being predatory, but also, like, unfortunately in America, in my opinion, you're considered an adult at 18, and children, I feel like an old man. Children that are 18 are rarely mature enough to like stand on business, to be honest. Like, I feel like most people in America don't even know how to write a check anymore. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I was talking to somebody today. I was talking to an accountant, and it came up, and I think it was like they got the bill and they were trying to write a tip, and they were like, what's 42 plus 9? And I was like, aren't you in accounting? How do you not know? How can you not do this mental math? Don't you do math every day? And they're like, it's not on a spreadsheet. I was like, oh, I'm out. This world is doomed. It's doomed, like dead, like straight up gone, obliterated. It just like, I turned to ash in that moment. Okay, let's look back at this. Oh, and I will say, like, duh, they're gonna be strings attached. Like, nobody just gives money to people. Never. I don't care if you win the lottery. Like, there are strings attached to that money. Okay, then they included the FAQ. Obviously, the rules haven't been finalized yet, but I'm not doubting for a second that this is just you can have the money, but only if you launch the series as an original stick, especially when 3 episodes are often the minimum for launch titles. Why else would they ask the people who are chosen to move forward in the contest for 2 more episodes? If they weren't fully intending on coercing the winners into a contract deal that would require them to have 3 free episodes and 2 to 4 fast pass episodes ready to launch as soon as possible. Call me out for eating too much tinfoil, but it's not like this is the first time Webtoons has done this, and they don't have anything to really gain from just hosting a contest and giving the winner 150K. There are always strings attached. When they say winners will have the potential to pitch their series as an original, what they really mean is if you want the money, you have to work with us. Like, yeah, that's what a job is. Yeah, like that's how that's how a publishing house works. Like, do you think they don't want a title they just found to be amazing? Like, why not? And I mean, if I was running a business and I'm giving you money, I'm going to want something out of it. Like, and I'm just being honest. Like, maybe some of you guys would be like, no, I just want to promote the love of comics. No, I want my bank account to keep rolling. I want you have to be thinking about your business. Like, how am I going to keep this business going? How am I going to keep bringing people in? One big way is a contest. And then it's like launching in 2026. Webtoon original contest winner of the 2025 Webcomic Legends. Like, you can hype that stuff up. I'm just speaking. Like, there are a lot of fun marketing ways to hype up a new series, and being like this is a contest winner is one of them. Like, people would be interested just from the fact of hearing it's a contest winner. Contest winner of what? Oh, I'm down. Like, people are like the way you present things is so important. Kobe said, I'm just looking for the networking. We ain't here to make the next epic, to be honest. I would self-publish for that. Hey, I get what you're saying, my guy. I'm here to network too. I love to network. I'm hoping that there's a lot of potential for people not in Webtoons, like at the company. I hope there's other people like looking at the platform to really like bolster potential. Like, I feel like that would be so cool to meet people from other platforms that are like looking through the webcomic entries and looking for IP, looking for things to that they can swoop in and snatch up. But yeah, I'm with you, Kobe. Like, I'm all about, like, if I was gonna go any route, like we're talking in my ideal world, I want to be the like next Heartstopper person. Like I just want to be like her and be like, or they, and be like, yeah, I did all this on my own. I don't need your Webtoons. Webtoons, you're posting about me. You wouldn't even post about me when I was on Canvas. Like, that's the vibe. We could, yeah. Day Day said, I don't, I don't know what you mean. I don't think they are doing something wrong. They do the contest to find new original comics. Yeah, agreed. I think people are just a little salty about it. Alvin, what is up? I wonder how a romance story would stand out. Lots of competition for that one. Do gay slash lesbian romance even stand a chance? Yeah, like they have a really popular original series that's a GL. I think the way so I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you guys like what my series is about in a sense. It's more on the like fantasy side of romance. Although I'm like, is it even a romance? But I feel like that's what the platform's missing. It's missing like the romance of like Hunger Game type stories, of Divergent type stories. Like, it's missing those elements of romance. And if they get a few of those on the platform, I think they could go a lot further. Okay, let's look at this last comment. Webtoon interview 2025. Yes, it's more accurate to call it that because you have to make 5+ episodes to have a chance to sign a contract with Webtoons, and they have a huge leverage over their own terms due to holding the prize as hostage. So be ready for that. For anyone who still wishes to join the contest, make sure to use new, clean Slate pen name for those who speaks and stands for other Webtoon creators publicly. They do background checks just like any job interview, and they won't work with troublemaker who potentially might tarnish the company's reputation, especially that they are now a public company. Don't link any of your previous works during the contest period. Well, that X's me 100% because I'm always going to try and speak like on the news. Like, I want us to talk about it. Like, I don't, if Webtoons is upset about it, they're upset about it. There is a way to talk about stuff though, and you could be shooting yourself in the foot. Like, if you're saying like I hate Webtoons, Webtoons sucks, and then you're like, Webtoons, please work with me. Why would I work with you? Like, even from a normal like person standpoint, if you're telling me you dislike me all the time, but you stay in my face, I am not going to be about that life. I'm going to be like, get out of here. Like, I am not interested in you at all. I'm just saying, like if you like that could automatically disqualify you. So I feel like that's just smart business. Like, why would I work with somebody who is constantly talking trash about me? Like, I'm just being honest here. Like, if you feel like you talk trash, then maybe you need to write under a pen name. But I'm gonna be honest, they're probably gonna look you up. They're gonna find out somehow. Like, let's just be a buck about that. Number 2, create a new disposable IP that you don't mind being bottlenecked by Webtoon. Do not put your most pet project up for the contest. I agree to disagree. I feel like, if you really are very concerned about selling an amount of your IP, then yeah, maybe. But also, I feel like anyone who loves writing, who loves storytelling, you'll eventually fall in love with the characters. And you're not going to want to sell the IP. But, I mean, hey, maybe you can disassociate or, like, remove yourself from that situation and look at it like, hey, I made this comic and I want it to be this way. Like, I want to give up the IP for it. Number 3, record every interaction you have with the company. Be careful about that. I don't know what you mean by record, but if we're talking about like audio record, that can be illegal and it can get you sued. So you better make sure what type of state you live in, and then you better make sure that if you're going to record somebody, if they're in a different state, is it still legal? Like there's a lot that can go into that. So be careful with that. Like, I don't know if I like that comment. Prepare to hire a lawyer to fight for your rights with the contract, especially on payments and rights. I mean, yeah, like, that's, I don't know. The way that's phrased seems weird to me. You should have an NDA and a room for negotiation before accepting the prize. For the contract, yes. For the prize, I don't think the prize is negotiable. Like, I think the prize, to me, the prize is an advance. Like, they're like, here's $150,000 in a year. We want this series. Get on it. Number 4, there are still some benefits to use Webtoon as strategic stepping stone. Agreed. I feel like you're a business person. Every business action should be strategic. If you feel like you don't want to be at Webtoons for the rest of your life, Webtoons knows there's creators like that. Webtoons expects that there's some creators like that. That should be in your strategy. By all means, act like they are your ally, but do not fully put all trust on them, especially with your IP rights. Again, you're an independent contractor. They are not your friend. They are like the wording for this always drives me crazy whenever people talk about enemies and allies. There are not enemies and allies in business. There are winners and losers. Like, I'm sorry to put it that way. I'm just saying. Chain said, I record everything completely legal in South Africa. Yeah, but you're dealing with America. So, like, it might, like, Webtoons is not going to leave America and come to South Africa to fight you in court. Like, they're just going to move on. Like, they're going to be like, it's not worth it. Like, they ain't interested. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot that would go into that. Like, what? I don't even know. Interesting. I'm very curious. Chains is like, America's dealing with me. I mean, you're entering an American contest, so I don't know. I beg to differ on that one. Jay said, yes, trying to know which is the best category to submit your entry is challenging for sure. Yeah, that can be like really hard. We'll see. I'm gonna get some feedback from some of my close allies. Now that's how you use that. So from some of my besties, you know who you are. Adagong said, I mean, I guess you could record it for yourself, but like legally, I don't know. I don't like, I feel like it's kind of rude, to be honest, to record somebody without telling them. Would I do it? Yeah, if the circumstances are right. But I'd also be kind of upset about it too if I knew people were recording me without me knowing. Okay. Aryu said, I was wondering about that. What you are describing sounds more like a advice or a commission, advance or a commission. Yeah, I think the prize pool is more of an advance. Like for the big winners. The little money, I don't know if I would count that as, you know. So there are a number of other comments. I'm scrolling down. Like there's been a number of them at it. We've already spent like 50 minutes. I didn't want to go past like an hour, so I'm gonna cut the video or the Reddit information here. So if you're interested in learning more about like what's going on with Reddit and all of that stuff, then I just say, you know, check it out. Like look at it yourself. So with that, we will go ahead and wrap things up. I'll do a quick Q&A if there's just a few. Our question to the community is, what are your feelings on the Webcomic Legends contest? Please comment down below. Let me know what you think. I want to know all of your thoughts. Good, the bad, the ugly. I want to know if you're entering. I want to know if you're not entering, why. I want to know like what your series is going to be about. Like I want to know everything. Give me the best blurb that you can. I want to hear like how exciting these comic stories are going to be. Let's amp each other up. Also, thank you to my patrons. I really appreciate you guys. I know that you guys have been like super supportive. So just thank you so much. I'm so very grateful to all of you. And with that, I will catch you guys later.